Hello friends, welcome to my channel or welcome back. I'm really happy you're here today. The first one I want to talk about today is the ZZ plant. This guy really prefers that you neglect him. If you give him too much attention, meaning too much water, he will die. He definitely likes to be completely dried out in between waterings. I probably water this thing maybe once, twice a month. And obviously it depends on the temperature and how much sunlight that this plant's exposed to. That will depend on how often you have to water it. Mine's in a very low indirect light setting. It can thrive in a setting that has more light. I wouldn't put it in a direct light setting, but he'll do really well in a bright indirect light setting. The more light that he does have, the more and the faster he'll grow. But he will be very happy in a low light settings, very low light tolerant. Don't stick him in a dark room. He does need some light. In terms of the type of soil, because he likes to be dried out, I suggest using a soil that's got a lot of perlite or even like a cactus succulent type of soil that's got sand in there, something that's going to drain really well. He will not do well if he sits in wet soil. He'll have root rot and he'll die. If you wanted to propagate this plant, it's a little bit different than say a pothos where you can just cut below the node, stick it in water or stick it in soil. These you actually have to root divide. The root system of the ZZ plant, they're very thick and they divide really easily. So if you wanted, you could, I could take this plant and divide it up into 3, 4 separate ZZ plants and create new ones. But that's why you don't have to water this plant as well, because his roots are so thick, he's absorbing and holding that water in. Therefore, he doesn't have to be watered that often. I'm kind of tempted to show you. I've never taken him out of his pot, but let's see if I can. And I've already got some roots growing out of the bottom of this pot, but he's doing great. I don't want to bother him. So you can see those thick roots. Now, just looking at his root system there, he's definitely not root bound. He does not need to be repotted yet. So we're gonna leave him there. I made a huge mess. There is dirt all over the place. Oh well. The second plant that is another one of those plants that I would consider to be unkillable is snake plants. This variety specifically, because there are quite a few. There's mother-in-law's tongue, which I have in the backyard. I hope I don't pronounce it wrong, but it's Sansevieria. These are great because similar to the ZZ plant, they can really survive in any type of lighting. If you want to put them in direct sunlight, you can, but if it hasn't been in direct sunlight, you want to acclimate it to sunlight, gradually increase its light, and then eventually move on to direct sunlight. I have one that I did that with. It took him a while to adjust and start producing some new leaves, but he did end up doing that. With all plants, if they get the proper, correct sunlight, most of the time, they're gonna do better. They're gonna grow faster. But this plant can really, like I said, survive in any type of sunlight. Low light tolerant, direct sunlight, medium and direct sunlight. This plant will do just fine in really any kind of setting. In terms of watering, also very similar to the ZZ plant. It is the same way. It doesn't need a lot of watering. It likes to dry out in between waterings. So I would suggest, again, the same type of soil that I would for the ZZ plant or a succulent. Something that's got sand in there, lots of perlite, well-draining soil. In regards to propagating, you can cut the leaves, but you want to cut the leaf as close to the base as possible. You can water propagate them, but from what I understand about water propagating them, you have to cut the base of the leaf a specific way. You almost want to make like an upside down V shape before you stick it in water. And it is a really cool way to propagate because you can see the roots grow through the water. I have a water propagation station where I do this. But you know, if I were to propagate a snake plant, I would just cut it and just stick it directly in the soil. I just think that that's the better option and the easiest. You don't have to then transfer it. You know, when you water propagate plants, the root systems are used to being in all water and no soil. So then when you transfer them to soil, you have to keep the soil moist for a long time and acclimate it to being in soil. I just think that directly planting it in the dirt is much easier and simpler. I would consider the snake plant to be kind of a slower grower plant. You can see there's some new growth here. Out of the frame. You can, like, this is a newer one compared to, you know, this one's older, this one's older. There's all different types of varieties of these. Really fun, easy, simple. And what this whole video is about is basically unkillable. Anyone can have one of these. Anyone can do well with a ZZ plant. I highly recommend starting with one of these two or both of them. The care is very easy. I think most people, more often than not, tend to get nervous about the plant getting enough water. If there were to be a problem with either of these, it would be with overwatering. These plants, they kind of want to be left alone. They don't need that much of your attention when it comes to water. If you don't already, I really hope that you'll consider getting some plants in your house. It just brings such good energy. It releases oxygen into the air. They're beautiful to look at. It adds to your decor. I love plants, obviously. I hope that maybe learning about these plants that are really easy to care for will make you feel better about starting your indoor houseplant journey. Thanks for tuning in. Also, please don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you never miss another one of my videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.